No sense of closure. The man accused of killing his girlfriend and dumping her body in the woods accepts a plea deal. We speak to the victim's sister about why they're upset with the sentence.
It's going to be warm the next couple of days, but showers are on the way. I'm updating our rain chances and how it could affect our weekend plans.
Property taxes. Right now, local governments are in charge of them, but state lawmakers are looking into ways to take that power for themselves. How exactly that would work and why city and county representatives are concerned.
We've got a lot to talk about tonight, but we want to start with this. This is a story that we covered extensively. Alicia Watts, the Moore County woman killed almost 3 years ago, her boyfriend accused in her death, reaching a plea deal in the case.
Now remember, this is the newscast that wants to hear from you, so it's about this story or anything else that you'd like to see covered here on WRAL at 7 o'clock. Send those thoughts to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com and we will talk about it during this newscast. Now here is what happened in this case in court today. James Dunmore reached what's known as an Alford plea, and what that means is that technically he is not admitting guilt here, but he will face consequences for voluntary manslaughter and face at least 7 years in prison.
WRAL's Willie Danley is covering this story for us tonight. He's live outside the SBI office. Willie, walk us through why this ended this way.
Well, Ashley, I'll tell you, as you can imagine, the family of Alicia Watts are very upset by what went down in court today. They tell me by James Dunmore accepting that plea deal, they get no closure in Alicia's death. James Dunmore is accused of killing and dumping the body of 39-year-old Alicia Watts of Moore County. Today, while still maintaining his innocence, he pled guilty to lesser charges of voluntary manslaughter and failure to report death. He's sentenced to nearly 10 years in prison. The Montgomery County District Attorney said the court knows that Dunmore is guilty of killing Watts, but he's unable to prove that to the jury due to the evidence that they currently have. In court, Dunmore addressed the Watts family saying, "Sorry." Watts' sister tells me that they do not accept that apology.
We lost someone that was very close to us, and we still do not know how or why she was taken from us the way she was. You're apologizing, but what are you apologizing for? You as a man should be man enough to say what you did.
Watts' sister tells me that Alicia was a pillar in her community and that anyone who knew her is disappointed in the outcome today. And although Dunmore did take a plea deal, the family is still going to continue to seek justice for Alicia.
Your heart goes out to her family. Willie, did Alicia's family have anything to say to the prosecutors who handled this case?
Yes, they did, Ashley. I mean, as they said before, they are disappointed in the outcome of this case, but they do understand that the district attorney's office did everything that they could with the evidence that they had available to them.
All right, Willie Danley, thank you.
We want to turn to another story here happening at 7 o'clock. This one out of Moore County as well. An update on a man arrested in Ohio accused of a double murder out of Vass. Brian Schrader in the Live Center with the details on this one. Brian, what do we know?
We've just learned that Caleb Fosnaw now is back in Moore County after that arrest in Ohio. Police say, or deputies in Moore County say, that he is responsible for the Valentine's Day murders of Private First Class Matthew Wade and his girlfriend Katarina Tovmash in Vass there in Moore County. Fosnaw is Tovmash's ex-boyfriend. He is scheduled to appear in court in Moore County tomorrow morning.
Tell Creedmoor that I still love them. I'm doing everything that I can to take the necessary steps to get better. That's your quote of the day, coming from the mayor of Creedmoor. That's what Mayor Antoine Downey said after he was charged with DWI. He's accused of crashing his car after driving drunk on Monday. And this isn't the first time. WRAL's Kirsten Clark has the story.
This is the aftermath of the crash troopers say landed Mayor Antoine Downey with his latest DWI charges. His Volvo SUV damaged after Downey hit a ditch and tree on US 50 near State Road. Creedmoor Mayor Pro Tem Archer Wilkins addressed the crash during the city's board meeting.
The city is aware of an incident involving Mayor Downey which occurred last night. I ask that we pause and pray for the health of our mayor this evening as he continues to recover from his injuries.
This crash is not the first time Downey has been charged with driving-related offenses. We found that Downey has been convicted of DWI 4 times, the latest in 2019.
Downey was required to get a substance abuse assessment or possible monitoring or treatment as part of those convictions.
I reached out to Downey to ask, should you have run for mayor with this level of criminal history? He declined to answer questions, but commented on the crash and DWI charges, saying, "Tell Creedmoor that I still love them. This is a slight mishap, and I'm doing everything that I can to take the necessary steps to get better."
Troopers say Downey's blood draw alcohol results are still pending. I also reached out to the city's Board of Commissioners to discuss Downey's charges and his criminal history. The city sent a statement saying that it will not comment further at this time and that the city's operations will continue as usual. In Creedmoor, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Here's what's next at 7. State lawmakers are looking for ways to take power from local governments to control property taxes.
These are real dollars and real impacts.
But how is that going to work exactly? I mean, the feds cut spending. The state is cutting taxes already. The math just ain't mathin'. WRL's NC Capital team helps us to sort it out. Plus, 40 years of students intense.
This is beyond worth it.
That's why they call us the Cameron Crazies.
Such a core part of what we do here.
We take a trip to Sheshevskyville in tonight's One Last Thing.
And temperatures were 10 degrees above normal for this time of year today, but we're forecasting a record high this week. I'll let you know when it's really going to feel like spring coming up.
Hey, raise your hand if you want to pay less in property tax. Everybody have their hands up, right? Obviously, that sounds great. A group of state lawmakers think they might be able to make that happen, but it might mean local governments handing over some of their power. Plus, aren't we already cutting taxes like everywhere else? So how exactly would that even work? I asked WRL state government reporter Will Doran. So, Will, property taxes are set by the local municipality, the county or city that you live in. Why is the state legislature discussing the possibility of taking control of that?
Well, state lawmakers have been hearing from a lot of their constituents who are saying our property taxes are out of control. They keep rising year after year. They're particularly hearing from older people, senior citizens who are on a fixed income and saying, look, I might be forced out of my house that I've lived in for years because my property tax bill just keeps going up every year.
It's a great promise, but let's talk about the math behind it, because I do have some questions. I mean, the state in some regards could be in a difficult spot, more difficult than we have been in the past. Let me read a quick list of some of the things. We still don't have a state budget. That's because the House and Senate, both controlled by Republicans, can't agree on taxes. Income tax rates, business tax rates, those continue to come down. That's less money. The federal government continues to cut aid, which could be a massive shortfall for local municipalities. We're already seeing cuts in some services. We just did a story yesterday about EMS having to prioritize who gets an ambulance on busy nights. Our teachers still make well below the national average, and the state's financial advisors are saying that the math just isn't mathing moving forward, and our current strategy could create some problems in the next couple of years. And now there's this discussion of lowering property taxes too.
Yeah.
How is that going to work?
Well, it might not work. You know, people who represent the cities and the counties around the state are fairly concerned about this proposition because of exactly what you were just saying. Look, you know, these federal grants that we used to get for education, for police, for cybersecurity, things like that, you know, the Trump administration has come in and cut literally billions of dollars worth of those, and other things like FEMA aid. You know, here in North Carolina, we get hit by lots of emergencies. FEMA has started pushing more and more of the costs off on local governments as well. So if the state legislature comes in and suddenly says, hey, cities, counties, you can't charge as much in property taxes, that could cause some serious problems.
You know, back to the state budget, it's not there because the Senate and the House can't agree on the current tax strategy that we have in place. And here we are talking about another change to property taxes. If none of it really lines up and makes clear sense at this point, why bring it up at all?
Well, you have to look at the timing. We're obviously in the middle of a big election year. It's the midterms. Republicans are in power up in D.C., and historically, whichever party is in power tends to lose seats in the midterms, and that's not just in Congress, but at the state level too. So Republicans in the state legislature are trying to show voters that, hey, we are hearing you, that you have these concerns, and we are doing something about it. Here are some of our proposals. We haven't heard those specific proposals yet, but they are promising that they are going to take some action.
Got it. Thank you, Will.
Thanks.
Now, before we move on from this, I'd like to just open the conversation up for just a moment, because I have some things that confuse me a bit. I want to hear what you think. So first, let's do this. I want to show you how property taxes are set and why they go up with this little explainer. Let's say, as an easy example, that the county is made up of these 3 homes, all with different values. Now, these homes need schools and police and fire trucks and potholes fixed and that sort of thing. That's the cost of services. Let's say that cost is $1,500. Now, the county adds up the value of the homes, then divides that number by the cost of services, and that gives you the tax rate. They then apply that rate to each home individually. So that means if the value of some homes go up a lot more than others, some people will see their taxes go up more than others. And some people might not notice much of a difference at all. Look, I know it's a little bit more complicated than that. That was a simplified version. And I know that almost everybody saw their property taxes go up. And I know why that hurts people. Some of you saw huge increases in taxes because almost everyone saw their home values shoot upward. And for the most part, that had nothing really to do with your personal prosperity. What I mean is, typically home values go up slowly as a community thrives over time, and your salaries will keep pace. But that didn't really happen here. That's because this all happened during COVID. The housing market went crazy. Low interest rates, remote work, out-of-state buyers coming into town, bidding wars, limited inventory. Home values surged faster than wages did. So the house that you bought for $200,000 is now worth $700,000, but your income didn't triple in that same amount of time. And that's where all of that pain comes from. And when I hear an idea to take that pain away, it sounds pretty darn good. Problem is, I just don't get the plan. Look, I don't want to pay taxes either, but I do want good teachers for my kids, a 911 center that answers quickly, an ambulance when I need one, a fire department that shows up fast, a hydrant outside my home that I can trust to work, roads that do not fall apart. And all of that does take money. In North Carolina, most of that money comes from your property taxes and historically some help from the federal government. And we're about to get a whole lot less of the latter. That pandemic money is shrinking and expiring for things like water and sewer upgrades and EMS staffing. Same with the money that we have seen go to our schools. Another thing property taxes support. Fewer grants for affordable housing and neighborhood improvements. FEMA, as Will was saying, that FEMA money is in question right now in a state that is known for hurricanes, along with help from SNAP and Medicaid. And I'm just wondering, where will we get that money? Tell me what you think about all this. We have talked a lot about growth and property taxes, hearing from experts and people struggling to make ends meet. So I want to hear your thoughts or your concerns or your criticisms on the way we cover a story like this. Email 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Tell me what is on your mind, and we will go in depth right here at 7 o'clock.
Very good, Dan. Thank you. Over here with Kat now. Kat, we are going to get some beautiful weather before a cool down comes.
Yes, we are. Mid-70s. We're looking at record highs possible by Friday. Just keep in mind that will come with a chance for some rain later this week. And you're going to see a lot of raindrop icons on the 7-day. However, I want to reassure you, you're really not going to see that much rain. None of those days look like washouts. Tomorrow, for example, it's a 30% chance for rain, mainly in our northern counties. Just a couple of sprinkles elsewhere. Highs in our northern counties only reach the mid-60s. We're in the low 70s around the triangle, likely due to some sun breaking through between the clouds. Still a lot more cloud cover than sunshine. 77 in Fayetteville. And then Friday, check out these numbers. 76 in Raleigh, 79 in Goldsboro. We could make a run at 80 in Fayetteville, even 73 in Roxborough. But did you see the thunderstorm icon? That's the flip side of the warmer weather. It provides some fuel, some energy in the atmosphere. And with the cold front coming, we could squeeze out a couple of thunderstorms. At this point, we're not expecting severe weather, but just a heads heads up that we could actually hear some thunder. The dual Doppler 5000 radar is showing a little bit of rain up toward the Virginia border right now, closing in on Lake Gaston. Carr Lake has seen some of that rain. Here's our next weather maker rolling through. While it looks like it's very clearly pushing through, it is going to get hung up. So by tomorrow morning, that front just kind of pushes to the north as a warm front, and it's closer to the warm front where we could see some showers early in the day. By the afternoon, it's just a few sprinkles pretty much anywhere in our area. And it's Friday that we have the cold front closing in. With that, late morning into the early afternoon, there could be those showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder, but it's a very skinny line. That means it's not going to last very long. If you do see a shower or a storm at your house, it's a 40% chance. We're going to keep a very close eye on the progression of this front. Saturday, a good chance for rain in the morning through the midday hours, but we might start to actually clear out a little bit later in the day Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on that potential if we're being optimistic. A live look at the WRAL Gardens. You can see it is a pretty nice evening, 63 degrees, a southwest wind around 10 miles per hour. The Greenway's forecast tomorrow. If you want to get out and about, maybe some rain in our northern counties in the morning, but by the afternoon, it's very spotty, very light. High temperatures reach the low 70s. You should be able to easily get outside, go for your dog walk or jog. And don't forget, if you are curious about where the rain is before you do head out to get your exercise, you can always open up your WRAL weather app and open up the dual Doppler 5000 radar. That's going to be one of your best tools to have as we head throughout the next several days. Like I said, each day it's a different location that could see rain and whatnot, and a different time of the day. None of these days look like washouts. So at this point, I wouldn't cancel outdoor plans.
All right, Kat, it was interesting how today in Raleigh, it was about a 5-degree temperature difference from other communities.
And that's the flip side of what we often see. RDU usually runs warmer than many of our other surrounding cities. Not the case today. We did have the clouds with us throughout the day. But, Fayetteville, Goldsboro, many other communities reached the 70s. Don't worry, we'll get there. It's in the forecast, and it's coming our way. But I'll take 60s still.
Totally.
Not too bad.
No complaints.
Hey, there is a huge game at Cameron Indoor this weekend, and that can only mean one thing: Krzyzewskiville. This season marks 40 years of students sleeping in tents, so we're going to meet a few of them. One last thing, and your feedback after the break.
Traffic alert right now from the WRAL Live Center. We've got a crash on the ramp from 40 eastbound onto Wade Avenue in the west part of Raleigh. DOT zooming in here. One of those lanes is blocked, and we are seeing some pretty significant delays on 40 eastbound. So coming from Cary, Harrison Avenue back toward Wade Avenue, we are seeing those backups. We're going to get some more details about that crash. We do know that it involves injuries.
Okay, Brian. One last thing. K-ville is back on Duke's campus. Can you believe they've been doing this for 40 years? The students there today weren't even alive when this all got started. Right?
So we got some video WRAL has captured here at Krzyzewskiville over the years. And you know how it works. Students sleep in those tents outside Cameron Indoor, hoping to be one of the first fans admitted into the stadium. Coach K, he started at Duke back in 1980, and in 1986, K-ville was born. So here we are 40 years later, and the tradition continues.
It's very cool. So this week, students are camping out for part 2 of the Battle of the Blues when the Tar Heels come to town 2 weeks from now. WRAL's Heidi Kirk spoke with some students and got a tour of K-ville.
Folding chairs, tents, and laptops don't always pair well together. But for 6 weeks out of the year, this is how some Duke students are doing their schoolwork.
This is beyond worth it. I would do it for longer.
They are camped out at what they call K-ville for the annual Duke-UNC men's basketball game, securing their spot in the student section by pitching a tent early and often decorating it outside Cameron Indoor Stadium.
We have this incredibly rigorous, demanding 6-week-long schedule because students are willing to do it.
When Aiden McCarthy says rigorous and demanding, he's talking about the rules. He knows them well as a line monitor. Students tasked with making sure someone is in the tent round the clock until game day, rotating in and out for class and breaks, of course.
Different tents will have these very complicated Excel spreadsheets where they'll have shifts very clearly laid out for who needs to be in K-ville and when.
So if you think this sounds crazy, you are definitely not alone. Even the students who are living out of these tents say it's insane, but they do it for one reason.
There's nothing like Duke UNC
when you're sitting in the student section. There's nothing. Truly, it's the energy, right? The rivalry. There's just so many years of passion that you can't fake that.
And that's why they do it and have done it for 40 years now.
And hearing stories from people who were here 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and like knowing that I get to be a part of something of a tradition with as rich of a history as Kville and tenting is really exciting.
Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, Durham.
Good stuff.
Totally fun. Hey, some quick feedback from you watching at home tonight. Dan, you mentioned that story about the new Wake County EMS policy on prioritizing ambulances. We got this question from a viewer saying, if an ambulance is heading to a patient and another call comes in that seems to be more important, will they reroute the ambulance?
Wow, what a great question. So we asked about this, and the answer is yes, the ambulance would be rerouted, but that really isn't anything new. EMS would do that today with today's policies. You can see the full breakdown of this on WRAL.com. I know this is a very important topic to a lot of people. One more, and these are some kind words that we got from Andre. He wrote, just saw Dan's segment on property taxes. Great job. I remember you when you worked in Portland.
Cool.
Wishing you many blessings. Andre, thank you so much. Look, we open up the 7 o'clock email for a lot of great questions, but compliments, they're fine too. Send those in. We love them. All right?
Dan loves them. Hey, don't forget, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. That's our email address. Be sure to send us a note. We love hearing from you.
We got the Olympic zone just minutes away. Here's a quick look at the medal count so far. Norway in first place, Italy in second, Team USA in third with 24 medals.
Tonight on Olympic Zone, we'll show you which new sport could make its Olympic debut 4 years from now. Thanks for watching us here on WRAL News at 7. Olympic Zone's next.
I do like compliments. I enjoy them.
I do too.
They make me feel good.
Yeah, me too.